lovely today is seeing adults working with children on a project. So all of the banners that you see being made here now will be on the actual parade. Kids' organisations who've come down with their carers and their supervisors to come and do it as well. So you've got a real nice mixture of people. Yeah, it's good.
That's a wonderful name, Mrs. Fleetwood. You seem to be the backbone of these banners.
Oh, no, I don't think so. I think I'm just doing a bit.
Are you?
Yeah.
It's a wonderful job you're doing.
Well, I'm really enjoying it because I love sewing. I'm really aware there's some fantastic artists around here who are decorating these banners. Beautiful. So I'm rubbish at that. But what I'm quite good at is basic stuff. I know my place. So what I'm doing is I'm really just helping to prepare the basic banner ready for the artists to be creative. We want them made fairly strongly.
Will they be weighted at the bottom?
Yes, they're actually here. It's my task, very importantly, may I say, very importantly, to put these tabs on, which holds the pole in place. So the pole will go through there and go to the top. We've got a piece of narrow baton to go through there, which is attached to a string. The artists will be putting all their creative work on here, but you know I'm really vital in this whole operation.
Lots of thought, and what we've tried to do is keep the size uniform. So we've got a story going with the banner size, but also to try and encourage people to put quotes from Shakespeare on the banners that refer back to their groups. So we've got All the World's a Stage from the Year Out Drama Company at Stratford College, and there's all sorts of different quotes. The belly dancers have come up with a great one. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but they've found one about being woken up by angels or something. I can't remember. So the Shakespeare text is running through all of the banners, which is a really important part of the story that we wanted to tell in the parade, is that all of these people are brought together by a love of the arts and a creativity, and that Shakespeare is the man of the millennium.
Most of the morning is spent cooking on our open fire. We produce a meal every day, and for feasts, like we're going to plan a great big feast for this occasion, we'll prepare all sorts of beautiful food. We've got a great big bread oven, so we cook in there, and looking after the livestock, like the pigs and the sheep and the chickens and so on.
And do you do this in costume? Do you have a costume
do.
today?
Yeah, we want to give people the idea, you know, the smells, the sights that they would see in the house in its period, in its 16th century. Yeah, so that's our goal, if you like.
Absolutely, and it's carrying the message through workshops like this back into the community as well, of how important Shakespeare is to us and how relevant he is, and how important it is to hold on to that heritage that we have in our town and celebrate it in a really contemporary way.
This is the beginning of the journey, 2002,
yes.
2012.
Yeah.
Will there be something like this every year now?
Fingers
up
crossed.
To
yes.
2012.
Yeah, hopefully it will grow and get bigger. And what we'd really like is community groups who haven't been involved this year for whatever reason to see what the parade is like on the 25th and to see what's going on in the town in the week up to it and the week after it in the literary festival, and to really encourage community groups who haven't otherwise been involved so far to be involved next year.
Really?
And we want to celebrate all of that creativity. It doesn't matter how you are creative, it's a celebration of the creative talents of the people of the town.
Yeah.
And the cultural creativity, and also the cross-gender, cross-class, cross-ability, cross-race, everything. The arts pull all of those people together. They just unify people. And to be able to offer somebody, whoever they are, living in and around Stratford, an opportunity to be part of a celebration in Stratford and to feel belonged and worthy of being there, and that they have as much right to be on that parade as anybody else, because they are as creative and as culturally able as anybody else. For example, on the parade this year, we've got a theatre group called Into Theatre, who are hopefully coming later, of adults with special needs, and they're on the parade. Good. And why not?
Good,
why not? And they're great. They're so fantastic. These young adults. They're absolutely brilliant, and they're led by a wonderful woman called Jackie, who's fantastic. And they are absolutely itching to be on the parade because they've never been invited to be on it.
Oh, right.
Or they've never felt that it's their place to be on it. Well, it's a level playing field, the arts, because the arts is not about. You can look at the arts and say it's about excellence, and of course there is a place for excellence, but there's also a place for interpreting your own world in your way, and that is as valid and as important.
Yeah.
I went down to the skate park to recruit skateboarders.
Yeah.
9-year-old down at the skate park. And he said, I don't understand why everyone has a go at us. We're just having fun. And anyway, I've had a really hard life, and skating takes my mind off it. Keeps me off the streets. I'm down at the skate park and I don't get into any trouble, and I'm learning something. And you know what? There was not a piece of litter down on that skate park. Not a fag end. Not a beer can.
That's their territory.
That's their territory, and they look after it because they feel it's theirs. And in the same way, the parade should be ours. It should be the people's parade. It's that bringing everybody in. It's so important.
Shakespeare would have loved that.
And it's what he would have loved. I'm
Oh,
certain.
absolutely.
I'm certain. That rowdiness, that
When you
people.
think of what he came from and what he became,
Yeah,
he was aware, you've got to go out there and do your thing.
Yeah.
And he did it.
yeah.
And today, these children are doing it.
You could have the next one sat here. You never know.
It's wonderful.
You never know, do you?
Well, Marion, we hope the day continues to be a success.
It will.
We believe it is going to be
I'm
a
sure
great success.
it's going to be. Thank you so much for coming down and covering it. It's
Thank
great.
you.
It's been lovely so far. Fingers crossed it doesn't rain.
Think not I love him, though I ask for him. 'Tis but a peevish boy, yet he talks well. But what care I for words? Yet words do well, when he that speaks them pleases those that hear. It's a pretty youth, not very pretty, but sure he's proud, and yet his pride becomes him. He'll make a proper man. The best thing in him is his complexion, which even as his tongue did give offence, his eye did heal it up. He's not very tall, yet for his years he's tall. His leg is but so, and yet 'tis well. There was a pretty redness in his lips, a little riper and more lusty red than that mixed in his cheeks. 'Twas just the difference between the constant red and mingled damask. There be some women, had they marked him in parcels as I did, would have gone near to fall in love with him. But for my part, I love him not, nor hate him not. And yet I have more cause to hate him than to love him. But what had he to do to chide at me? He said mine eyes were black, and my hair black, and now I am remembered, scorned at me. I marvel why I answered not again. But that's all one. Omitance is no quittance. I'll write to him a very taunting letter.
The only rehearsal day, we'll see representatives from each of the local community groups who are involved, and we'll teach them a basic shape of what we're going to do in 2 weeks' time. In fact, a week's time. I wish it was 2 weeks. We don't know how many people we're going to have on the day. There could be 200 young people, there could be 50 young people, but we do know that we've got 6 local community groups. A belly dancers group, Tai Chi people, people from a theatre school, a circus and theatre school, so quite a variety of people. So the brief today is to give them a pattern that they can then take away and teach or share with the other members of their group, and then come back. When they come back next week, we'll have one early morning rehearsal. Hopefully, the weather will be fine for us, and we'll get a rehearsal on the street before everybody appears. The streets are closed from about 8:30 in the morning. So the point of rehearsing today at the high school is to introduce people to the basic shape that we're going to be going with. We've used a really simple gesture, which is a handshake, as a kind of welcoming of all these people from all over the world to Stratford to celebrate the birthday, and a swing, a kind of country dance swing, just linking elbows and turning people around as a kind of sense of a party. It's very simple, but when you multiply a simple gesture like that over a group of, say, as I say, maybe 200, maybe 300 people, then it has a much bigger impact. It's never been anything like this on the birthday parade, so we're beginning to make some kind of connection with the local community and also bringing a different life into it. A big important part of it is the samba band, who will be marching down Bridge Street and playing from the bottom of Bridge Street, and they'll provide some accompaniment for us to be just having a bit of a party. And there's one group that we're hoping we're going to be here today, and they're not here today, which is a cross bikes and skateboarders are going to. We're trying to get some of the local kids involved.
But they will
in
be
that.
involved.
Well, hopefully,
Yeah,
if we can
yeah.
get them to come, we're kind of negotiating with whether they're going to be able to come and stuff. So that's the plan for today, and we're here for 3 or 4 hours, so we've got plenty of time to kind of get it right, and send them off with their kind of blueprint of what to do and take it back to their group and get that going.
They all seem very excited about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's as much as anything else. It's about people getting to show what they do in as big a forum, instead of just doing it, you're belly dancing in your hall or at a party or wherever it is that you do it. There's kind of, potentially there are 1,000 people on the streets.
And it's going to be ongoing, isn't it? I mean, 4 years you've got to do.
Well, hopefully we're going to kind of build year on year with a little bit more success.
Could be thousands of people.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, we know there are lots of bikers, for example, come to Stratford at the weekend,
Always.
and there's a big motorcycle club in Stratford. So hopefully over the years we'll get more of them will arrive, and instead of 3 or 4 motorbikes, which is what we think we've got, we'll have, we could have as many as 25 or 50, seeing how many people turn up.
It's just wonderful to see so many people in Stratford at this particular time.
Yeah, and also the point is to let them know what's going on. And when Orit Azaz asked me to be involved through Deb Shaw at the company to kind of look at this 8-minute section. So we're kind of sandwiched between this really formal parade of people unfurling flags and fanfares and the national anthem, and then the children's parade going off to the church with their posies of rosemary. There's this kind of 5 to 10 minute slot where we're just kind of going, we're going to do something different at this point. And before it is nothing to do with us, and after it's nothing to do with us. But the parade the shape of it's changed, the route's changed, and so we'll see what happens.
Of course, with something like this, you usually find that people meet people for the first time, and all of a sudden this kind of thing will begin to grow.
Yeah, it has.
One hopes other things are going to branch out from it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, things like we've been working with the Year Out Drama Group from Stratford College. It's a 1-year drama course, and the students there have just been absolutely worth their weight in gold, because they're kind of providing a kind of Pied Piper role for the kids who are not here and we won't see until the day, who they can then follow. They're going to be able to follow these students. So they've been worth their weight in gold. It's a great experience for them, and it begins to develop a connection between the company, between the RSC and the community in a different way as well. And that's important. And the voluntary sector it's a really important really important part of the work and the development of the RSC in the city as well, in the town.
Yeah.
As an unperfect actor on the stage, who with his fear is put beside his part, or some fierce thing replete with too much rage, whose strength's abundance weakens his own heart, so I, for fear of trust, forget to say the perfect ceremony of love's rite, and in mine own love's strength seem to decay, I were charged with the burden of mine own love's might. Oh, let my books be then the eloquence, and dumb presagers of my speaking breast, who plead for love, and look for recompense more than that tongue that more hath more expressed. Oh, learn to read what silent love hath writ. To hear with eyes belongs to love's fine wit.
Ocean Design, a baby sign group where we teach you to communicate with babies before speech. And we do it through using simple gestures, and we learn through the music. Okay? And the signs are chosen for Makaton. Have any of you heard of Makaton? And ESL? A lot of nurseries and schools are embracing signing now. It's like sharing a picture with your hands, and it helps them learn and understand the words much sooner. And in class, you learn the signs through music. Time to sing and time to sign. Are we ready for music time? We feel happy and we feel fine. Everyone sing and sign. Your attention. Introducing simple signs can stop being frustrated throughout the day. You know that you're tuned now, I've just sang. Have a go helping me out. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Wiggle, wiggle high. Wiggle down low. Well done. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Roly, roly. You can have your bass on your lap here. Roly, poly. Ever so slowly. Roly, poly. As fast. so slowly.
Jessie, now let's play peekaboo. She's hiding. Where? Where has Jessie gone? Where is she? Jessie cat, where are you? Where's she gone? Where's she gone? Here I am, how do you do? Stick my nose. She's gone. Her first words. Taught them very quickly through using signs. Useful signs like the sign for pain and the sign for help. So it's really worthwhile when you go. Jessie's a bit tired now. She's going to have a seat. Should we say bye-bye? Let's say bye-bye to Jessie. She'll say bye-bye to you. Let's say bye-bye to Jessie. We'll see her very soon. Oh, bye-bye, Jessie. Bye-bye. Yes, all finished. Good boy.
Look at the cake beaker. Can you
Birthday is today. On Shakespeare's birthday. And Robert is a very clever daddy. This is Kevin who made the cake. This beautiful cake. And now he's going to cut it for us on this Shakespeare's birthday. Brilliant. I'm so glad you didn't put the knife through William. This is our baby Shakespeare dressed appropriately in Shakespeare's birthday suit. It would look something like this. But I think Shannon is a little better looking than our William. Not one of them has cried at all.
How oft, when thou my music playest upon that blessed wood, whose motion sounds with thy sweet fingers, when thou gently swayest the wiry concord that mine ear confounds, do I envy those jacks that nimble leap, to kiss the tender inward of thy hand, whilst my poor lips, which should that harvest reap, at the wood's boldness by thee blushing stand, to be so tickled they would change their state and situation with those dancing chips, o' whom thy fingers walk with gentle gait, making dead wood more blessed than living lips. Since saucy jacks so happy are in this, give them thy fingers, me thy lips to kiss.
To the citizens of Her Majesty's town of Stratford-upon-Avon in the county of Warwickshire, I bid you greetings of this, the 24th day of April, in the year of our Lord, 2009, being the 57th year of the reign of our Sovereign Lady the Queen, Elizabeth II. I bid our distinguished guests and visitors welcome to the reopening ceremony of this area known as the Bancroft Gardens. I have the honour to introduce the two speakers, the chairman of the world-class strategy group and the leader of the Stratford-upon-Avon District Council, Councillor Les Topham, together with Sir Donald Sindon, Commander of the British Empire and Doctor of Letters. God save the Queen! Please play silence for Councillor Les Topham.
Thank you very much, Mr. Beadle. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for being here today. It seems to have been a long time coming, but I can assure you, now it's here, it's well worth the while. It's a historic day for all of us today to reopen the Bancroft Gardens after its refurbishment. And I'm sure that with the quality of the materials that we've used on the job to start with, we've laid the foundations for which will be, over the next few years, one of the most beautiful gardens in the county, or in the region if you like. The gardens, I don't know if you know, I own a garden centre, so I have a lot to learn. I haven't provided any of the grass, I haven't provided any of the materials, so before you start writing to the Herald, it's not true, I can assure you. But it is beautiful, it's a good foundation, and what a setting for our new theatre that will be finished in 2010. Whilst I'm speaking, I'd like to say thank you to all our partners who worked with us over the year and who provided the finance. Advantage West Midlands, we couldn't have done it without their help. The cooperation of the County Council has been made possible. I'm sure, I was here yesterday and the radio was asking me why you should have a garden in a town like Stratford. And there were people relaxing all over the gardens with fences up, but there's people still relaxing there and enjoying it. And I thought at the time how wonderful it is if you're stressed out in the way things are in the world today, and you can come to a place like this and just lie on the grass and relax and think how beautiful it is. It refurbishes the body, gives you more impetus to get on it. People who work in Stratford who come out in the lunch hour and they're lying in the gardens, and I thought that's why you need gardens in a town like Stratford. And world-class Stratford isn't a 5-minute job. It will take us 5, 10, 15, 20 years to achieve the aspirations that the people of Stratford do require. And they do require quite high standards, Stratford people, and we do our best to fulfil them. I'd just like to say thank you very much for coming out today to see us open in this garden, and I'd like to thank Sir Donald as well for coming up here to see us. Sir Donald, he is the patron of world-class Stratford, and he's very supportive of us.
Be pleased to pray silence for Sir Donald Sinden, CBE.
Good morning all. Lovely to see you here. I must say it is a great honour for me to be nominated as the patron of the world-class Stratford. I first came here, I'm so old now, but I first came here in 1946. So I've been around here for 63 years. And when I first came here in 1946, it was a very different place, you know. We had a chemist called Login. It was a Washington Irving Hotel, where Marks and Spencer's now is. The Earl of Sandwich still lived in Hallscroft. It's a strange time. In 1946 to 47, it was a very severe winter, and everything froze. It was very nasty. We had to cut our way through to the theatre, and we were able to skate on the basin here. And when the snow melted, it caused a flood. And the only way we could get to the theatre was by punt, which we did on many occasions. It had a culminating effect in 1969, I think it was, when I was playing Benedict in Much Ado About Nothing. And I was staying over the other side of the river, and on a matinee day I was walking across, thinking how lucky I am to be appearing in Stratford-upon-Avon, with the Avon flowing past, the swans on the river, Shakespeare's church on there. The sun was shining beautiful. I thought, what am I going across to appear in this theatre, to be able to recite the words of Shakespeare? And as I came across, there were more trees here then. We are getting those back, which is all right. But a group of students, mainly girls, were under one of the trees, and one of them came racing across to me and said, "Excuse me, could we have a photograph?" And I said, "Oh, yes. And she handed me the camera. perfectly true. And I have to tell you, I took a photograph at the top of the tree. I was here, well actually I remember digging the foundations for the bridge.
1966.
I forget which year it was, I think you mentioned it, when they first joined up the canal with the river. 40 or 50, 52, was it something like that? And
1986.
8. Yes, I remember it well. 1886. Mine. This is a great pleasure to be here, and I forget what I've got to do, see? I've got to open something. What have I got to open, Liz? What do I do? We move.
You called me and the chairman.
I see. Yes. So I'm going to... How lovely these are all going to look. And the theatre will provide a nice backdrop to this garden. And I hope we will never see a sign up there, please keep off the grass. Because that's what this garden is all about, lying out in the sun. Wonderful. So I do hope the residents, how many of you are residents of Stratford, or how many of, oh, a lot, oh, wonderful, good. Well, I hope you enjoy the garden as much as we all will. Wonderful. Thank you very much indeed for turning out this morning. And now I'm going to call, you want me to move? In a minute, I'm just going to say this through the microphone.
Boys and girls, would you join me in a countdown? When Sir Donald has finished.
Councillor Topham and Councillor Seaman, who will draw the... What will you do?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold on.
Alas, poor Yorick. I knew him, a fellow of infinite jest, of most excellent fancy. He hath borne me on his back 1,000 times, and now how abhorred in my imagination it is. My gorge rises at him. Here hung those lips that I have kissed, I know not how oft. Oh, where be your jibes now? Your gambols, your songs, your flashes of merriment that were wont to set the table on a roar. Not one now to mock your own grinning, quite chapfallen. Now get you to my lady's chamber. Tell her, let her paint an inch thick. To this favour she must come. Make her laugh at that.
You kids what the gestures are, what we're doing, so start weaving, yeah. Great, and then Amy, off you go, so we're taking one half. We're going to stay behind the polka, the paper moon. Round the roundabout, comes down, we all join the back, and off we go, so in order. Belly dancers, come in.
And the other way. Top speed, a double cast round.
It's been a really busy morning so far, but it's great that the sun's come out. We all got drenched in the rehearsals this morning, and it's just great to see the crowds all beginning to gather, aren't they? All the diplomats and ambassadors are here upstairs. I think it's 24 ambassadors and high commissioners here today, so they've all come with their guests, and it's lovely actually because a lot of them come every year. And and so they're all meeting up with each other and talking about when they were here before. So there's a real sort of tradition of ambassadors and diplomats coming up.
Do you think because we're leading up to the Olympiad, aren't we, to 2012, this is the beginning now? Is it a little bigger this year?
I think it is,
I get a feeling.
Well, it's much bigger now. We've got all the community groups involved, because in the past they haven't really had a sort of proper role in the procession. People were just asked to tag along. Oh yes, I'm hoping it will grow, and actually some people, I've been walking along this morning and like people from the church were saying, well, we haven't got a banner, and I said, well, you could have made one. Well, I haven't made my own banner either, but you know, people have seen what has happened this year and thinking, I want to be part of that.
Yeah.
So that's really helpful.
That's very good. So next year I would think it's going to be even bigger.
Yes,
and
yes.
Come 2012, that could be enormous,
yes.
which would be wonderful.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It is.
It's good for the town as well.
It
There's
is.
so much going on.
Yeah.
Because a lot of towns are not lucky like Stratford-upon-Avon. They don't have all this, do they?
No, and I think hopefully in the future more of the businesses might get involved as well. Because we were rather hoping that all the businesses in the town would be involved, but I think it's not been a bridge too far for some people. So, but I think when they see what happens this year, it'll inspire people to be more involved next year.
Yeah, because it'll bring more people into the town, which will be good for their business.
Well, hopefully,
Let's hope they can see that.
Yes.
Brilliant.
Yes.
Well, we hope you have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
I love your Shakespeare.
I know.
Is that the new?
That's the new portrait.
Oh, really?
That's the new. So we opened that, of course, on Thursday. Yeah.
And he looks rather glam on that.
He's very glamorous. It's a beautiful picture.
This is a star, isn't it?
So no, that's our big thing for Shakespeare's birthday this year, was the new lifetime portrait of Shakespeare. Possibly the only one in the world. Yeah. So anyway, I hope you have a lovely day.
We will.
看镜头，要不然最重要一段。好，谢谢。待会儿你们要跟着一块儿走。对，一会儿到那个旧房子，到那旧房子这儿，到旧房子。好的，好的，好的，好的。早上好，王后。
So we're here today to celebrate what would have been his 444th birthday. And also to remember the extraordinary contribution his work has made to our town, to our country, and to the world, despite what Mark Rylance might have to say. My name is Mark Richardson, and it's a great honour and privilege to be here today, President of the Birthday Celebrations. A living legend, at least that's what he told me at the rehearsal. Ladies and gentlemen, Sir Donald Sinden.
Do we need a microphone, Miles? Surely not. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. This is a celebration of Shakespeare, man of Stratford, by the people of Stratford and our guests. The first ever celebration of Shakespeare took place in 1769, organised by the famous actor-manager of the time, David Garrick. It took place over 3 days and included a masked ball. The weather was terrible, and most of the spectacles that Garrick planned were rained off. One thing that survived was the special ribbon that Garrick commissioned, and the colours of the banners today are based on the colours of that ribbon. The birthday celebrations really started in 1824, and the first ever international visitor was the American ambassador, who came in 1896. I don't know if he's still here. It is now a permanent feature in the diplomatic calendar, and we are delighted to welcome our international guests here today. William Shakespeare was the greatest playwright in the world that has ever known. His plays have been performed in virtually every known language throughout the world for over 4 centuries. His work remains one of the most important ambassadors for our town and country. This year, we begin a journey of reflection and renewal, of developing the ways in which we can celebrate our most famous son. We want to include the many different creative and cultural voices of Stratford, and we want to extend the celebrations to people all over the world. We would like to thank all those individuals and organizations that have made this weekend's events possible. On behalf of us all, I wish you a very happy day. Thank you.
Thank you, Sir Donald. Now, those of you who don't know, he's currently performing in the birthday production of As You Like It, being Jaques. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Forbes Masson.
All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man in his time plays many parts, his acts being 7 ages. At first, the infant mewling and puking in the nurse's arms. Then the whining schoolboy with his satchel and his shining morning face, creeping like snail unwillingly to school. And then the lover, sighing like furnace, with a woeful ballad made to his mistress's eyebrow. And then the soldier, full of strange oaths and bearded like the pard, jealous in honour, sudden and quick in quarrel, seeking the bubble reputation, even in the cannon's mouth. And then the justice in fair round belly with good capon lined, with eyes severe and beard of formal cut, full of wise saws and modern instances, and so he plays his part. The 6th age shifts into the lean and slippered pantaloon, with spectacles on nose and pouch on side, his youthful hose well saved, a world too wide for his shrunk shank, and his big manly voice turning again toward childish treble, pipes and whistles in sound. Last scene of all, which ends this strange, eventful history, is second childishness and mere oblivion. Sans teeth, sans eyes, sans taste, sans everything. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Forbes Masson. Your Excellencies, my lords, ladies and gentlemen, please unfurl your flag.
Feel free to bring the kids.
Germany at the door, Samba Band. Bosnia and Herzegovina, Serbia, El Salvador, Sri Lanka, Indonesia, China, Bulgaria, and Uruguay in attendance today. Vital statistics of the drum and dance company. Japan, Ireland, United States of America, the Philippines, Germany, United Nations, the European Union. We are very honoured to have the company and celebrations presented by the Greater China Cultural Association with us today. As well as the High Commissioners of Pakistan, India, the Bahamas, Canada and Antigua and Barbuda, representing our Commonwealth. The Stratford Visual Arts Group, the Stratford Operatic Company, Avon Maids, the representatives from the theatre world, friends of the RNC, Stratford's sister cities, Horscroft Club, Stratford Club, Birmingham City Library and the British Council. Terry Holt and his good lady wife in their medieval costume. Croatia, the Shakespeare Institute of course is represented. As are the Phoenix Players.
Thank you very much, Roger. Nice to see you. Thank you very
Glamis thou art, and Cawdor, and shall be what thou art promised. Yet do I fear thy nature is too full of the milk of human kindness to catch the nearest way. Thou wouldst be great, art not without ambition, but without the illness should attend it. What thou wouldst highly, thou wouldst thou holily, would not play false, and yet wouldst wrongly win. Thou hast great Glamis, that which cries, thus thou must do if thou have it, and that which thou dost fear to do, than wishes should be undone. Hie thee hither, that I may pour my spirits in thine ear, and chastise with the valour of my tongue all that impedes thee from the golden round, which fate and metaphysical aid doth seem to have thee crowned with all.
We're from Mary Arden's farm, and we are 16th century farmers, really. So we're just having fun doing this Mummer's play on Shakespeare's birthday. We're not professional actors at all.
No, but you look professional. It's wonderful.
Well, yes, we're dressed in our farming clothes. So you can
these
see
are the clothes you actually wear around the farm?
They are, yes. I've got my best clothes on here, but you can see that one of my farm workers there has got his old clothes on, and they're very dirty and falling apart.
But I hear you do wonderful meals there. You cook meals.
Yes, we cook in the farm.
Exactly as they were in the time of Shakespeare.
That's correct. Yes.
You use all the old methods.
Yes.
Of
Yes.
The food
yes.
And
we have a bake day once a week on a Friday, and due to the time, we eat fish on Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays, and then roast on a Thursday and a Sunday. So we live quite well. Adam Palmer, who's the farm we represent at Mary Arden's, he was a wealthy man, so we can afford to have some nice foods.
And he left a nice legacy for the farm.
He did, yes.
Good. Henry Street.
It's a Mummer's play, which is St George and the Dragon and the Turkish Knight.
Oh, brilliant. How long is that?
It goes on roughly about 5 minutes, 15 minutes, 5 to 50 minutes. So
and where did you find this piece? Did you write it, put it together yourselves?
It's actually something that somebody's found
some of the history found. So
A
we
real
basically,
old play?
it's a real old play.
Oh, wonderful.
Miserable day in the morning, but thank God the sun came out.
You did, wonderful. Well, we hope your play, your production goes really well this afternoon. And we are going to watch it actually, aren't we?
Oh yeah, that'd be good. Yeah, I'd like to. Be excellent. May I just say, if you enjoy the play and if you're interested at all in Mary Arden's, feel free to come along to our Tudor Festival. There we are.
I knew she'd give it a
And that's it, the second bank holiday in May, and we're going to be having a Tudor ham fasting, and so it should be a really exciting day where two people who are betrothed together will actually get married later on in the year. So that's quite exciting for us.
Brilliant.
I, the Turkish knight, come from Turkish land to fight. I mean to fight St. George, that man of courage bold, and all the rest of it.
And in come I, St. George, from England did I spring. Hooray! From England. I will fight the fiery dragon, my wonders to begin, I will cut his wings, he will not fly, or else I'll die.
Who's he that sinks the dragon's blood and shouts so angry and so loud? An English dog before me stand! I'll cut you down with my courageous hand.
Is there a doctor to be found already near at hand to cure a deep and deadly wound and make our champion stand?
£15 it is my fee, the money to lay down. But, as 'tis such a rogue as he, I'll cure him for £10.
Cheap at a price, I tell you.
Here, Jack, take a little of my flip-flop. Pour it down thy tip-top. Rise up and fight again.
Gold.
Fought the fiery dragon.
I fought the fiery dragon, I brought him to his slaughter.
And indeed, we won the heart of the king of Egypt. Slaughter!
Room for me and my broom.
Come in. Show me the man, get quickly stand, and I will cut him down with my courageous hand.
Come from Turkish land to fight. I'll fight St. George, who is my foe. We'll see who'll yield before I go.
Grovel. Well, arise, proud knight, and go and tell thy land what a worthy champion in England there doth stand. And now that my duty's done, I'll return to the bride that I've won.
Go on then, sweet.
Room for me and my broom. Room for me and my broom.
So I started working on the project in January, and I spent a lot of time with the birthday committee members and different stakeholders and groups who've been involved in the procession and the celebrations for many years to try to understand how it has been in the past, how it might be improved, or what changes people felt needed to be made for this year and in the longer term future. So working very closely together with them, what I understood was that this is a celebration of Shakespeare, Man of Stratford, by the people of Stratford and their guests. And that seemed to me very, very clear. It was a very clear story. I think 12 or 13 different sites. There were 3 or 4 different places in Bancroft Gardens where activities and performances were happening. 3 or 4 different spots on Henley Street. 1 outside the Corn Exchange. In Great Gardens, on Theatre Gardens, and actually dotted around the rest of town as well. Some of the things that you could see were ambient or promenade pieces. There were also different groups performing scenes from Shakespeare. So there was a young group performing Speed Shakespeare, Julius Caesar in 10 minutes, but there were also Shakespeare Live, a number of different amateur dramatic groups and theatre groups from the area who were performing scenes from Shakespeare on Bridge Street in the morning before the procession, and then in the afternoon at the Great Gardens. And those groups actually also did an evening performance here at the Shakespeare Birthplace Trust for people who wanted to see their work inside. There was a party for under fives called Knights and Nymphs held in the Great Gardens, and I believe that's the first time that there's been an event which is specially for little ones and their families. And we worked with the students from Year Out Drama to create a piece of street theatre, really, where they went round and they invited people to have their photographs taken within those frames. And across the whole series of photographs, we have a really beautiful portrait of Shakespeare's birthday celebrations 2009. The inspiration for the flower portrait was the idea of living tradition. That is what we were trying to do this year, is capture the idea of living tradition. Take something that has existed here for several hundred years and rejuvenate it, reinvigorate it, re-inspire it so that it lives this year and for future years. Now, one of the ways to do that is by involving more people and younger people and new ideas. But we also wanted to find a way to tell the story of that idea by using living materials. Traditionally in the procession, visitors and people who are participating carry flowers and rosemary for remembrance. They carry them the length of the procession journey and they lay them on Shakespeare's grave. So we wanted to take that idea of the flowers that people carry and see, well, what can we do with that? People are carrying those flowers. Is there something that we can make with them that might be symbolic of the idea of living tradition? So we spoke with the artists from Shakespeare in Art and came up with the idea of a living portrait. One of the other things that happened over the birthday period was the launch of the portrait exhibition at the Shakespeare Birthplace Trust with the newly found Cobb portrait. So Mark Gisborne, one of the artists in Shakespeare in Art, adapted or interpreted that new portrait of Shakespeare into a floral portrait.
My mistress' eyes are nothing like the sun. Coral is far more red than her lips red. If snow be white, why then her breasts are dun. If hairs be wires, black wires grow on her head. I have seen roses damasked red and white, but no such roses see I in her cheeks. And in some perfumes is there more delight than in the breath that from my mistress reeks. I love to hear her speak, yet well I know that music hath a far more pleasing sound. I grant I never saw a goddess go. My mistress, when she walks, treads on the ground. And yet, by heaven, I think my love as rare as any she belied with false compare.